Hey guys, so this video is about multiplying polynomials, and we're going to start with a little bit of distributing. And so we've done this a bit already, but this is just with some bigger exponents, a little bit more complicated problems. So this is just our, run this across all three terms. And then if you remember back in 0.4, this is where we did, where we add the exponents because we're multiplying. So that's going to be our rule here as we go through this section. Anytime you're multiplying, remember x squared times x cubed, we think 2x's, 3x's, so that's x to the fifth. So 2 plus 3 makes 5. So that's going to come into play a lot here. Okay, so for this first one, we're going to go 4 times 3 and get a 12. X squared, x cubed, so that would give me 5 all day there. And y squared plus 1 more would make y cubed. And then next round, so 4 times 6 is negative 24. 2 and 1 would give me x cubed. And 2 and 2 for the y's would give me y to the fourth. And then one more, so 4 times 7 goes 28. There's no x's here, so it's just that x squared. And then y squared, y cubed for y to the fifth. Next two are ones I'd have you do in class, so let's look at those. So again, we're just distributing. So, and this is, that's like an invisible 1. So negative 3 times the invisible 1 makes a visible 3. X squared gives me x to the fourth. Remember, we're adding those. And then go again, so negative and negative for positive 21, and 2x is here, 1 there, which will give me 3 altogether. And then times that negative 1 will just give me opposite sign, same stuff. And that'd be that. This one, so again, same idea. So 2 times negative 3 for a negative 6. 3 here on the x's, so that's x to the sixth. 2 here, 1 there, so that's going to be y cubed. And we take the middle term, so 2 times 4 for 8. X cubed and x, that's going to be x to the fourth, and then y squared, also y to the fourth. And last one, so 2 times 9 makes an 18. Again, no x terms, so just x squared. And then 2 and 3 makes y to the fifth. Okay, and then this next part is called FOIL. We might remember that from high school. And so the FOIL stands for first, outer, and then inner, and last. And honestly, I don't love FOIL that much. FOIL is great when you have 2 things by 2 things. They spell FOIL. As soon as you get 2 things by 3 things, they don't spell FOIL. So for me, I prefer to think of it as a kind of a double distribution. If I think of this problem right here, the first is you're multiplying these 2 first terms. So it's like I'm just distributing the x to here. The outer is then I'm multiplying the x to the 3, the 2 outer terms. So that's our first and an outer. But really, if you just kind of think of it as, it's just you're running the x through the parentheses. And then you do the same thing with the 5. So this is our inner, and then our last. So the inner 2 terms, and then the last 2 terms. But again, if you just think what it would look like if I ran the 5 through, it'd be 5x and then plus 15. So it's just those second steps. So I just think 2 distributes. So this is going to go x times x. Careful not to get 2x there. That's a really common error. Remember, we're multiplying, so we're adding powers. So that's going to be x squared. If you think about x times x, right? That's x squared, x plus x. That one is our 2x. So here on the outside, I'm going to have x times 3, so 3x. On the inside, I'd have plus 5x, and then on the last, I'd have plus 15. Very often, the outer and inner terms will collect, not always, but often. And then that's going to give me 8x, and then plus 15. This next one, so this slightly different, just in that we got cubes and squares, so it's going to just kind of be a big mess at the end, but here it is. So 4x cubed times x squared, so it's going to be 4, 3 here, 2 there, so that's going to be x to the fifth. 4 times 5, so it's going to be minus 20x cubed. And then 3 times x squared, so 3x squared. And 3 times minus 5 for minus 15. These next two, I actually have them in backwards order, so I'm going to do 7 first, because we're going to turn 6 into 7 in a second. So let me start with this one. And this is where I was saying it doesn't spell FOIL anymore, because I don't really, I could do first, but then outer, and I just missed that 2x in there in the middle. So that's where I like thinking of it, is I'm just going to distribute the 4x to every term. So I'm going to do this, this, and this. So that's going to look like 4x cubed, and then minus 8x squared, plus 20x. And then this one with the 3, again, very easy to see it as distributed. Just right there, right there, right there. So this will go 3x squared, and then minus 6x, and 3 times 5 for 15. And then just find our like terms, collect them, and we're done. So right there we got 4x cubed minus ax squared plus 3x squared, so that would be a minus 5x squared, plus 20 minus 6, that's plus 14x, and plus 15. Okay, so this one, I can multiply any two set together that I want. So I could do these two, I could do those two, I could do these two. For me, this order right here is kind of my preference. For whatever reason, I like to multiply 2 things by 3 things. I think when I see it the other way, it just feels like kind of too much bouncing back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down this x plus 5, and I'm going to choose to multiply these two first, but again, that's just kind of my preference. So x and x for x squared. On the outside, I get a plus x, or 1x. Inside, I get a minus 2x. And then on the last, I get a minus 2. And then don't start doing the x through here yet, because you got a couple of like terms, and that will save you some steps if you just kind of stop for a moment. And let's put those together, because here I'd have to go 2 things times 4 things. That would give me 8 things. If I do this, now I only get 6 things, so a few less pieces. And this was x and then minus 2x for that negative x right there. And now it's basically just right back to that problem. So I'm just take this x and multiply it to everything. A lot of times when it's just an x like that, I'll just think, okay, so that's going to be 1 bigger, x cubed, 1 bigger here, x squared, and then 1 bigger there, minus 2x. You can just also bounce it through and do the distribute. Then here I look at it and I go, okay, all of this is going to be 5 times bigger. So that's going to be plus 5x squared minus 5x and minus 10. So again, that's just this running through. And collect some terms. So we got x cubed right there, down x squared, up 5x squared, so that's going to be plus 4x squared, minus 2 minus 5, so that is minus 7x, and a minus 10. Okay, so these are some matched ones I'd have you try in class. So first, and that's x squared, outer plus 8x, inner would be negative 4x, and last. And then just collect those. Sometimes those are called the cross terms. So 8 minus 4, so that's going to be plus 4x minus 32. Let's see, number 9, that is 5x times 2x. So that's going to be 10x squared. And then 5x times 9 is going to be plus 45x. And then negative 1 times 2x, so minus 2x. And then on the end there, a negative 9. A couple like terms, I'll put those together. 10x squared, and that'll be a plus 43x and minus 9. And then that one, so again, same idea, just the powers are a little bit different. So x cubed times 5x cubed is going to be 5, because that's an invisible 1. X cubed would be x to the 6th. Then just think of it as 3 x's and 3 more x's for 6 altogether. X cubed times that 4. And then the negative 1 runs through. So negative 5x cubed, negative and negative makes positive 4. And right there I do have some like terms, so I'll finish this out. It's 5x to the 6th minus 9x cubed and plus 4. Example 11, I got it's kind of that double distribute thing again, so we'll do this first, and then we'll do that negative 1, which is easy, we'll just change the signs. through there. So 2x times x squared will be 2x cubed. 2x times the 4, so that's going to be a minus 8x squared. 2x times minus 5 for minus 10x. And then the same thing with the negative 1, so that's just going to flip all those signs. So I'll just do negative x squared plus 4x and plus 5. Collecting my terms, let's see, that's my only cube, so 2x cubed. Down 8, down another one, so that'll be down 9x squareds. Minus 10 plus 4, so that's minus 6x. And plus 5 there. Okay, so this one, again, for me, I kind of like to do those two first. But I could totally do this too. Maybe I should show that. No, I really hate it. I'm going to do these two first. Thought about it. Okay, so x times x, x squared. And then negative 4x. On the inside, I get a 3x. And the last, I get negative 12 or minus 12. And once again, we got these like terms. We'll get those collected. So that'll be a minus x and a minus 12. And then once we got that, I'm just going to run the x through all these, and then I'll run the 2 through all those. So as I'm doing the x, I'm just again making everything x bigger. So that makes this x cubed, makes the middle minus x squared, and that makes that one a minus 12x. And then this time it's just going to make everything 2 times bigger. So that'll be plus 2x squared minus 2x, and 2 times 12 for minus 24. So like terms, x cubed minus x squared plus 2x squared, so that's going to be x squared. And then minus 12 minus 2 minus 4x and minus 24. Okay, the last part of this section deals with special product formulas. And this is one of those things that people tend to not learn. And it's because there's a pretty easy workaround. You can just FOIL. I'll show you that. And with that, I'm still going to really encourage you to learn these. It's a thing, it comes up a lot. It's really nice. You know, basically by the end of this, you're going to be able to look at that and tell me that the FOIL is going to come out to 9x squared plus 30xy plus 25x. Like, it's that easy. I just looked at it and said the answer, if you know how to use these. So it's a handy little bit. Plus, in the next chapter, we're going to actually, in just a couple sections, we're going to be given this side and have to get back to here. So being comfortable with both sides of this is super important. And then being able to recognize them for what they are. So this one, I'm gonna kind of break this down a little bit. I think I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna show why the formula is what it is. So I'll just do a little scratch work down here. If I have a plus b squared, you absolutely cannot distribute that square there. You have to think of it as a plus b, because that just means you have 2 a plus b's. And if I FOIL a times a, so that's our a squared, so that's where this is coming from. A times b, cool, ab. B times a, don't write ba, write ab again. Go alphabetical order, because it'll make it easier to spot your like terms. And then b times b for b squared. And then since this is 1ab plus 1 more ab, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So basically, if I just FOIL this out, this is what's going to come out every single time, if it's the kind with the squares here. First two formulas, the only difference is inside there's a plus, this one has a minus. So this one goes plus on the second term and minus on the second term. Let me take this one. So this is being like my a, and this is being like my b. And so I'm supposed to go a squared, so a is like the x, so x times x, so that'll be x squared. And then in the inside, I'm supposed to go 2 times a times b, because remember how we got 2 ab's down here? So this is a, this is b, and then times 2. So 2 times 5 is negative 10x. And then on the end, we'll just have b squared, which is totally what we get. And minus 5 times minus 5 would be plus 25. Next one, so 7x minus 1. I did mention that you can cheat these, and so that would be this FOIL. So here, if I did this, let me do that out real quick just to show it on one. X and x for x squared. On the outside, you get minus 5x, same thing on the inside. and minus 5 for plus 25. And you can see that these two are going to combine right into that 10. This one, so let's see, we're trying to, again, you can kind of think of it as plugging in here, but then you have to memorize the formula, which for me, I wasn't very good at that. So I kind of think of it more as a pattern. So the first thing is a squared, so it's whatever's up front, 7x times 7x, 49x squared. And it's 2 times a times b, so 1 times 7 would be 7 times the 2 in the formula. That's minus 14x. Also, whatever sign's on this side is going to match the one right here. And then negative 1 times negative 1 will make a positive 1. This one that I mentioned earlier, so we just take whatever's up front, 3x times 3x, so that is 9x squared. And then we go 2 times a times b, so 2 times 3 would be 6, times 5 would be 30, and then xy. And then on the end we got plus 5 times 5 would be 25, and then y squared. So a nice way to think about it is just 3x times 3x, 9x squared. 3x times 5 would be 15, double it, there's your 30, 5y, 5y, 25y squared. Okay, so these next four ones that have you try in class. And again, the basic form of this thing is a squared, and then plus or minus, depending on the sign in the formula, 2ab plus b squared. So that's kind of my template that I'm using. So, and this is for a plus or minus b. It's not plus or minus like plus or minus, it's just saying the formula can by either sign. So this is like this, that makes the a, the x, and the b would be the 3. So a squared xx would be x squared. 2ab, so 2 times x times 3, so that's negative 6x. And then 3 times 3 for 9. Number 17, so I'll try that out. So 7x times 7x, that's our a times a for our a squared. So it's going to be 49x squared. And then 2ab, so you just multiply them together and double it. So 7 times 3 would be 21, doubled would make 42x. And then 3 times 3, that's our b squared. So this next one, we got 5x minus 2 quantity squared. So we're just going to go 5x times 5x, or 25x squared. 5 times 2 would be 10. So ab times 2 in the formula makes minus 20x. And then 2 times 2 will make 4 on the end. This one, we're going to go 7x times 7x, so that's 49x squared. 7 times 2 would be 14, and then doubled again would be minus 28xy. And then 2y times 2y would be 4y squared. And again, that last sign is always positive, so that's going to be a plus, excuse me, 4y squared. Okay, and for this last part, we have difference of squares. And so the formula for that was a plus b, a minus b. And if you FOIL all that out, what ends up happening is you get, a squared, and then minus ab, and then inside you get plus, it's ba, but I'm going to write it ab, same thing, and then b times negative b from minus b squared. And then these just drop out, so that's why it's always just going to be a squared minus b squared. So, looking at this first one, the x is the a, the 7 is the b, so x squared minus 7 squared would be x squared minus 49. Here, same idea. So a is the 4y, so 4y times 4y would be 16y squared. And then b is the 5 up here, so that's going to be minus 25. And no need to do out all the steps, right? Because we would just get a minus 20y and a plus 20y, and they would just cancel out. So plus 10 minus 10, so y times y for y squared. And then this will make a minus 100, because, again, minus 10y plus 10y, they would just cancel. This one, so this is our a, that's our b, so 4x times 4x is 16x squared. And then 9 times 9 would be minus 81. This one, it's written kind of a backwards order, but it's cool. You just, this is a, this is b, so 8 squared would be 64, and then y squared minus the y squared on the end. And here, basically, again, same deal. It's just it's got squares instead of kind of the linear terms. But it'd still just be 3y times 3y would make 9y to the fourth. And then outside and inside, 2 times negative 2, negative 4. And that wraps up multiplication with polynomials.